Alright, so this is Yellow Boy. He was just, sorry about my sneakers. He was just tested with the Volhard aptitude test on day 49 for most accurate day of testing. This is a room where he's never been before, tested by a stranger, and introduced to props he's never seen before for most accurate results, and judged based off of his first gut reactions, not his second or third response or recovery. First test, well, overall assessment, real quick, I would say he is a little bit more of an easier going male, and by easygoing I mean in the spectrum of German Shepherd. So he's not a lap dog, but he's not as high drive as some of his counterparts within the show line. So social attraction is the first test. He's placed in a room where he doesn't know anybody. He approached the stranger cautiously with his tail down, and I don't mean tucked in. He was not timid at all in his approach. He was just more submissive. He didn't come bounding to the stranger with his tail high up in dominance. You could see completely different response with people he knows, which again, the test is very, very insightful if it's done correctly. Good boy. Hi. Hi, sweetie. All right. Then following, he followed readily around the room with his tail up and wagging, scoring a 3. The first one was a 4 he came readily with his tail down, but I'd like to note, in addition to that, it was just a little bit more submissive than even this test includes. Restraint, right after the puppy has met the tester, it's maybe, pull him over there so we can see him, there we go. It's not very long before the tester is restraining them very rudely on their back. And this tests the degree of dominant or submissive tendency, how they accept stress when physically and or socially dominated. And he had no struggle and was relaxed, which is not a very stubborn or dominant puppy. Right after the restraint portion, it's very important to note, does the puppy leave the tester in defiance, or do they have a forgiving nature and stick around with the tester? He absolutely did have a forgiving nature. He cuddled up to the tester, tried to lick his face with his tail wagging, very sweet. Elevation dominance, once again, we're testing the degree of accepting dominance while in position of no control. For 30 counts, again, he is held up and he had no struggle during that entire count. I can't see you when we can't get a good shot when he's this close, but he's very sweet, as you can see. He's very people-oriented, even when it comes to allure, which most higher drive puppies would be after that in a heartbeat and wouldn't let go, and he's more focused on the people in this room. Retrieving a crumpled up piece of paper is tossed in the room. He looked at it. You want to try again with that piece of paper? He looked at it, sitting, and then he just went to the tester, like, what are we doing next? So again, this is not a super high drive puppy. He didn't even go after the crumpled up piece of paper. Drive can be built, and you can see it right here. He's just more, he's very people oriented. Oh, little mouthing. Good boy, there you go. So drive can be built. But again, they're scored based off their first gut reaction, not their second or third response or recovery. We're noting their instincts and their natural tendencies before the world shapes them too much, which is why it's on day 49. All right, so after that we have touch sensitivity, increased pressures placed in the webbing of the puppy's paws for 10 counts. He pulled away a little bit at count 8 and licked the tester. It wasn't really that he was touch sensitive or anything like that. It was just exhibit A of drive being built. It's happening right here in this room. He was just, that's the third test that involves restraining the puppy, and he's ready to move around and do things. Let's see, sight sensitivity. Allure is dragged across the room. It tests the degree of intelligent response to a strange object. He looked with curiosity and attempted to investigate with his tail. I'm trying to read and point the camera in the right direction at the same time. Oh, where was I? With his tail down. Sound sensitivity, a loud sound meant to startle the puppy goes off. He listened and located the sound. He did not move towards the object in a super... Oh, we got your finger. He did not move towards the sound in a super dominant approach, but he also didn't run off, critch, and hide or anything like that. So that was a 4. He scored mostly 3s and 4s throughout this entire test, with some exceptions, but still overall really, really nice scores. This is an ideal pet temperament puppy. Stability, a large umbrella is placed in the room. It tests the degree of startle response to a strange object. Good boy. Let's see, where was I? And their fight or flight drive. Let's see. He showed little or no interest. That was his score. He just walked right past it. He wasn't perturbed by it at all. So, good boy. Look at that ear up. He's very, very sweet. This is a nice pet temperament puppy. Will be a lovely companion for many years